There is a luxury you recognize the moment you see it. And then there is the kind you only understand when someone quietly invites you into the room. Today, we're pulling back that curtain. 20 houses that the truly wealthy actually buy. Not for logos, not for hype, for craft, for scarcity, and for legacy. No noise, no filler, just the quiet code. Goyard, founded in 1853, Paris. Goyard built its reputation by doing what every modern brand refuses to do, staying silent. No advertising, no e-commerce. Its hand-painted chevron pattern signals over a century of heritage without raising its voice. Small leather goods begin around $2,000. Custom trunks climb into six figures, each price a reflection of workshop methods that have never been rushed by fashion cycles. Historic clients included the Rockefellers and the Romanoffs, but the modern appeal is simpler than that. Privacy. The most compelling pieces never touch a public shelf. In a world that equates visibility with value, Goyard sells the opposite. Objects that matter most to people who have no need to be seen. Moynat, founded in 1849. Moynat predates most headline houses, yet remains deliberately invisible. Their specialty is travel goods and leatherwork executed with near museum-grade respect for structure and finish. No celebrity ambassadors, no campaigns. Production is intentionally limited. Waiting lists for certain models stretch past 2 years. This is a trunk maker's philosophy applied to the modern bag. Lightness, resilience, quiet profiles that hold their shape for decades. The connoisseur notices the details. Arched seams, hand-painted edges, closures engineered to feel inevitable rather than decorative. For clients who can buy anything, Moynat proves that the highest luxury is choosing not to chase attention. Mille, where watchmaking meets aerospace. Entry pricing begins around $80,000. The most complex references comfortably exceed $1 million. The signature is radical materials. Carbon composites, titanium, exotic alloys, shaped into skeletonized cases that look like they were milled from a Formula One car. Rafael Nadal's RM Tourbillon is built to survive forces exceeding 10,000 Gs. That is not marketing, that is engineering. The appeal for the ultra-wealthy is twofold: technical audacity and genuine scarcity. You don't wear a status symbol. You strap on a laboratory project that happens to tell time, produced in volumes small enough to keep even seasoned collectors waiting. FP Journe. If Mille is noise, Journe is a whisper. Annual output, roughly 900 watches. Movements crafted in solid gold. An industry rarity that communicates priorities without a single diamond. Prices begin in the mid-5 figures and rise to 7 for grand complications. Access is personal. New clients often arrive through existing owners. The waiting period is measured by relationship as much as by calendar. Cases are discreet, dials restrained, finishing obsessive. The allure is that it requires fluency. The watch doesn't introduce the wearer introduces the watch. Patek Philippe, the house that wrote haute horlogerie's grammar. Founded in 1839, Patek pioneered complications, the perpetual calendar, the minute repeater, then embedded them in designs that became landmarks: the Calatrava, the Nautilus, the Aquanaut. The value proposition to wealthy families is time itself. Thousands of hand-finishing hours per piece. A culture that treats ownership as stewardship. Patek's message about passing a watch to the next generation isn't a slogan. It's how the brand is collected. In boardrooms and at auction, the name stands for precision that compounds. Rolex, less rare than inevitable. And that is precisely the point. From the waterproof oyster of 1926 to the perpetual self-winding movement, Rolex fused tool reliability with glamour. The Submariner, the Daytona, the Datejust. These aren't just models. They are mile markers in 20th century design. For the wealthy, Rolex represents certainty. The watch that performs on a mountain, in a cockpit, or beneath a cuff, with a resale ecosystem that reinforces its reputation rather than undermining it. Not a trophy, a standard. Loro Piana, the uniform of people who can't be bothered by logos. The Italian house controls the world's rarest fibers with ruthless selectivity. Baby cashmere from the underfleece of young Hercus goats, collected just once in a lifetime. Vicuña from the Andes, harvested on a tightly managed cycle. A single jacket can reach $20,000. Scarcity here isn't manufactured. It is farmed, combed, and woven. The aesthetic is restraint. Straight cuts, soft shoulders, colors that look like daylight. For the ultra-wealthy, Loro Piana is a standard of comfort that reads as competence, never performance. Brunello Cucinelli, a philosophy sold as a sweater. Cucinelli revitalized his Umbrian hometown and is known for paying workers meaningfully above market rates, embedding ethics inside the product story itself. A classic cashmere crew neck begins around $2,000, but loyal clients are drawn to limited pieces that never appear in any catalog, offered directly and quietly. The cut is relaxed, the palette forgiving, the hand feel addictive. Tech founders and investors adopted Cucinelli as the dress code of quiet authority. Nothing flashy, everything intentional. A daily reminder that luxury begins with how clothing makes you feel, not how it makes you look. look. Vuitton, a near-philosophical argument for handwork. The house produces roughly 20,000 suits a year, each requiring extensive manual stitching. Its pinnacle, the K50 program, caps output at 50 suits annually. Each takes around 50 hours. Each costs well over $50,000. The numbers are a filter disguised as branding. Vuitton isn't about novelty, it's about consistency. The same measured shoulder, the same rolling lapel, refined again and again by the same hands. Among insiders, a Vuitton jacket is the handshake you feel before you hear a title. Brioni, Roman polish applied to power dressing. A single suit passes through approximately 220 steps in 6,000 hand stitches, guided by tailors who train for over a decade. Ready to wear begins in the mid-four figures. Bespoke, conducted in quiet salons, starts near $30,000. Brioni's value to world leaders and executives is discretion. The house prioritizes line and drape over trends, building garments that look correct in every room without ever looking new. That is the mark of a wardrobe, not a purchase. Henry Poole, where modern black tie began. In 1865, the house cut the first dinner jacket for the Prince of Wales and has dressed royalty ever since. The ultimate luxury here isn't owning a single suit, it's maintaining a personal pattern book, a living record of your posture and proportions, updated season after season, sometimes passed to heirs. That continuity is why Poole matters to the rich. It turns tailoring into lineage. When a lapel shape becomes family shorthand, you have crossed from taste into tradition. Charvet. Operating from Place Vendôme since 1838, Charvet is where shirts become instruments. Bespoke involves 30 measurements, hand-cut paper patterns, and a timeline that stretches into months. Entry pricing sits in the mid-hundreds, but clients typically commission full rotations. Dozens of shirts, custom cloths, and collars for every jacket they own. The most exclusive service is weaving a fabric that will never be reproduced for anyone else. It is luxury you feel on your skin, and recognize only if you have been fitted there yourself. Bottega Veneta, an empire built on making leather behave like fabric. The intrecciato weave, narrow strips hand-braided into a resilient, breathable surface, demands specialized artisans and decades of refinement. The most coveted pieces live in private rooms, shown by appointment to clients who prefer a quiet conversation to a waitlist number. The absence of exterior logos is the message. Touch matters more than text. Among wealthy buyers, the game is not owning a viral silhouette. It's having a version that exists only in your wardrobe. Hermes began with harnesses, kept the discipline. The Birkin and the Kelly are the result of a workshop mentality, saddle stitching by hand, seasonal color rotations, and distribution that favors relationships over receipts. Scarves, tableware, and ready-to-wear carry that same uncompromising approach. The attraction for the ultra-wealthy is that Hermes doesn't bend to demand, it shapes it. You don't simply buy a bag, you earn the right atmosphere for one to appear, and then you keep it long enough to become part of its story. Cartier, the jeweler of kings, still setting standards a century later. Cartier popularized platinum in fine jewelry at the turn of the 20th century, enabling a delicate strength that defined an era. Today, the love bracelet, the tank, the Santos, the Ballon Bleu, and the surreal crash span royalty and pop culture without diluting the core. Cartier designs read clean at a glance and reveal rigor up close, which is why they age so well. For collectors, the Maison is reliable shorthand. Tasteful, historical, globally understood without ever needing to explain itself. Christophe, French silversmithing elevated to sculpture. The Jardin Dayton collection pushes beyond tableware into statement objects, including a silver-plated copper bathtub priced around $75,000, built over months by master artisans. Access is curated. Clients build a relationship through smaller pieces before limited objects are offered. For the kind of home where a centerpiece requires a provenance, Christofle supplies conversation that doubles as heirloom. Buccellati treats gold like lace. The house's signature techniques, honeycomb piercing, deep hand engraving, require months at the bench, producing cuffs and rings that glow rather than glare. Pricing begins in the mid-five figures and rises quickly with stones and complexity. The reason collectors lean here is originality. Each piece carries the touch of a specific artisan. Among connoisseurs, spotting a Buccellati texture across a room is part of the sport. Stefano Ricci, Florentine bravado, executed with obsession. Ties begin near $250 and climb into five figures when woven with precious threads and stones. The brand's most exclusive moments happen off stage. Invitation-only gatherings at a private Tuscan estate where patrons dine, hunt, and preview limited editions that never reach public display. Retail as club membership. For wealthy clients, Ricci supplies a dial you can turn from quiet authority to undeniable opulence without changing addresses. Chanel made elegance move. Gabrielle Coco. Chanel replaced stiff corsetry with tweed jackets, gave the world a little black dress, and secured immortality with number 5. The contemporary house keeps refining those codes rather than replacing them, which is why vintage and current sit comfortably side by side on any red carpet. The luxury for the rich isn't isn't the logo. It's the certainty that a Chanel jacket will still look right a decade from now. When a brand's archive keeps pace with its runway, you get longevity that money alone cannot fake. Louis Vuitton started with trunks in 1854, never stopped solving travel. The monogram canvas became global shorthand for luxury, but the brand's true power is innovation, light, durable construction, boundary-breaking artist collaborations, ready-to-wear that nods to the atelier's origins. The wealthiest clients bypass the obvious for special orders and limited runs that reconnect to that trunk maker DNA. Vuitton remains the rare house that can be both mass-recognized and quietly elite, depending entirely on which door you enter and what you ask to see. Every one of these 20 houses tells the same story in a different accent. Real luxury is not loud. It never rushes. The rich do not buy these names to prove anything. They buy them because, after years of searching, they have finally learned what patience, craft, and permanence feel like. That is the world of true wealth, quiet, deliberate, built to last. So the next time you see someone with no visible logos but everything perfectly made, they probably know these names by heart, and now so do you.